augmented and diminished chords. D, and you go up your 4, F sharp, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means you've got a D, an A sharp, and an F sharp. D, A sharp, D, F sharp. D, E, F sharp, A sharp. You know, kind of a slightly dissonant sound. So it's, you can use them, you know, if you want to do something like, you just want to throw a bit of tension in. You know, you can do things like come out of your suspended chords. In that case, what I did is I did my suspended. So I got my A here, and my suspended 4G down here, and then I switched them. I moved the A up to an A sharp, dropped the G down to an F sharp, now we're the augmented chord, and then I go to the major. So that's the augmented. The diminished is 2 minor steps up. So it's D, F, to be A flat. And I find these a little bit harder to play because they sound something like, there's your D, A flat, D, F. Or, again, there's kind of a gnarliness to these. So you can go from like your minor, or your diminished, to your minor, to your major, to your augmented, to your suspended 4. I mean, you can just keep walking these notes around. And they all work. I mean, they all have their place in music. You know, granted, if you had to listen to something along the lines of for about 10 minutes, that might get a little old. But it's kind of a cool little thing to throw into, like, you know, you've got a song going, you know, like, you know, we'll do our C, I mean our G, C, and D thing again, but I'm going to throw in some augmenteds in here. So you got, you know, it all works. It has a slightly harsher sound, disjointed sound, but, you know, what the heck. Whatever floats your boat. So again, an augmented is a triad with 2 major steps where you got 4 frets, and a diminished is a triad where you go up 2 minor steps, or 3 frets. That's the difference. So those are the basic triads you got. We've gone from a 5 chord to a major triad, a minor triad, a suspended 2 and 4 triads, and now the augmented and the diminished triads. They're all triads. They always have the same 3 notes, just sharped and flatted back and forth. Now, we've talked earlier where, when we were looking in the notes, and I mentioned that there were sharps and flats, and it depended on the key or the chord what it's called. So this, your diminished chord has this note, which is, there's a G, there's an A. Now what would you call that? Because it's in between them. It could be either a G sharp or an A flat. Well, in this case, because it's a D chord, D, E, F, G, A. The A is part of the chord. So this would be, because you're talking about a D chord, you have to have an A in it. That's the flat. Likewise, in the augmented, when we move this note up here, it could be A sharp or E flat. But again, we're talking about a D chord. The D has to have a D, an F, and an A. So that's an A sharp. And so that's how they get named. You know, ultimately these are just frequency sounds. But this is just a way of communicating which one of these frets to press down in order to get the sound you want. The key is that because the triad D demands a D, an F, and an A, that dictates how you name these notes. That's an A flat. That's an A sharp. So that's how that works.